Hush-a-bye, don't you cry. Go to sleep, my little darling. When you wake, you shall have all the pretty little horses, dapple and gray, pinto and bay, all the pretty little horses. Hi, I'm Justin Rosso from Next Step Press, and my mom used to sing me that lullaby when I was just a little child. I know she sang it over me in my crib, and I'm told she even sang it to me before I was even born. That image of a mother tenderly singing over her newborn child that she loves and carries, that image is an image that describes our God's love for us in Scripture. When I see a verse like Zephaniah 3:17, He will rejoice over you with singing. I think of a mom singing over her child. And there are plenty of places in Scripture where God invites us to see that tender love of a mother and the dependence of a small child who can't do anything for themselves. God invites us to see our relationship in those terms. I come with nothing to offer, completely dependent. Jesus says, let the little children come to me because they can't do anything for themselves. And that idea of tender compassion, a mom's tender compassion, is at the heart of who God is. In fact, at key places in Scripture where God talks about mercy and compassion and loving kindness being core and central to the divine personhood, that tender love, the word used in Hebrew there, is directly related to the Hebrew word for a mother's womb. That unique tender love of a mom describes God's love for you. But if you look at the context a little closer, you'll see that a mother's tender love is not actually the image Zephaniah has in mind here in Zephaniah 3. Zephaniah says, do not fear, O Zion, do not let your hand hang limp, for the Lord your God is with you, a mighty warrior who saves. This is a mighty warrior who has come to the rescue of his daughter. Sing aloud, daughter Jerusalem, Zephaniah calls out. And that little girl is singing for joy because she's been rescued. She's been oppressed and taken captive by all the enemies surrounding her, sin, death, devil, evil, even her own sinfulness. Read the first chapters of Zephaniah and you get a laundry list of the way God's people have turned away from God's promises. The people don't care about God's promises or about God's judgment. The leaders are like wolves. The pastors are sinning more at church than the pagan nations are sinning in their foreign temples. Things have gotten from bad to worse in Israel, and now God is going to step forward and rescue daughter Jerusalem from her own sins as well as from the captivity of sin, death, and devil. So that little girl who'd long ago given up hope that her father still cared, that her God would rescue, now finds herself set free. And as she rushes into that mighty warrior's arms, she's lifted up and she sings a song for joy. Can you imagine the smile on her face? The delight in the king's eyes as his little girl's hair falls over his armored shoulder. Can you hear the clang of the sword as it falls to the ground? Can you see the marks in the mighty warrior's hands and feet? Can you see the wound in his side? Oh, it came at a price, this victory that he won. But now his daughter is back in his arms, and the sounds of her rejoicing are drowned out by one thing only: the mighty voice of the mighty king raising in shouts of praise to have his daughter back in his arms. You can take both of those songs with you this week, that tender lullaby of a mother and the victorious cry of a mighty king. Both are true in God's heart for you. Already now you can lean into your dependence and say, Jesus, I can't do it. I don't have enough. I'm not strong enough. And Jesus says, let the little children come to me. You can also look forward to that day when the word shall go forth from Zion, have no fear. In love, he will no longer rebuke you. The mighty warrior has come to save. And as you enter into Jesus' presence in that day of resurrection, as your song joins the hymn of saints and angels, there'll be one noise that outpaces them all. Only one thing could drown out the sound of your praise, and that's the Lamb at the center of the throne as he sings a song of victory and joy to have his darling back in his arms again. That's your promise. That's your future. Come quickly, Lord. I'm Justin Rosso, and I'll see you next time at Next Step Press. This video is brought to you by Next Step Press in collaboration with St. Paul Lutheran Church and School in Ann Arbor, Michigan. If you'd like more information about St. Paul, check out www.stpaulannarbor.org. And if you'd like to become a Next Step patron or find out more about our book, Delight, Discipleship as the Adventure of Loving and Being Loved, then visit us at www.findmynextstep.org.